The Iranian leadership has been a very long time being a thorn in the side of the entire West and really being a thorn and a half in the side of Israel. And they have been big talk the entire time. And this is a hot war between Israel and Iran that it seems the United States may have just taken a big part in ending. I have some thoughts on what I think actually happened here and what I think is next. And guys, really, it's surprisingly little. It really is very surprisingly little, at least from what I would forecast at this point going forward. But I do want to share a couple of different sources here, just sort of to get a wrap up on things. So, for anyone who doesn't know, there were some bombs dropped in Iran from the United States military that seem to have taken out their targets. I don't know that we have much clarification on that at this point, but it seems that it was a successful mission. In the aftermath of that, we have, pardon me, um, articles such as the following from Fox News: Iran attacked Israel despite U.S. strikes on nuclear sites. Trump calls for peace. Basically, Iran attacked Israel, the whole October 7th ordeal. Israel kind of declared war outright. Israel got Iran on the ropes. Then Israel said, hey, Donald, you want to come drop some bombs? He did. And then Iran attacked Israel again. And Trump says, can't we all just get along? That is what is going on. Iran's military launched dozens of missiles into Israel on Saturday night after President Donald Trump ordered United States airstrikes against 3 Iranian nuclear sites at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. Trump and other world leaders have called on Iran to come to the negotiating table. So, this is covered by Anders Hagstrom, Stephen Soros, Stephanie Price, and Louis Cassiano. So here's the this never ceases to amaze me that one of the things that is so incredibly entertaining about Donald Trump, you just don't know what he's going to do. You just don't know from moment to moment sometimes what it is that he's going to do. He bombs the hell out of Iran and then calls for peace. He bombs the hell out of Iran and then says, let's get to the negotiating table. Now, this is, it's incredible. It is incredible how basically what this is a guy slaps your wife's ass. You punch him in the face and then tell him to give you some money. You punch him in the face and then say, let's talk about this. What is that? That let's talk about this? That, hey, do you have anything in your wallet? That is a thinly veiled threat. So somehow, Donald Trump found the way to use precise violence and still make a threat. I don't know when they say mob tactics, this is exactly what they're talking about. And by the way, I'm all for it. Like the mob, say what you want about them, very efficient, very effective. And it's been a long time since an American president has been very efficient and or very effective. So if Iran here just kind of feels threatened and coerced to a negotiating table, who gives a damn? It's Iran. Okay, and again, separation between Iranian leadership and Iranian people. The people seem to hate their leadership, at least some portion of the people. But this is an incredible to just bomb the hell out of them and then say, hey, Let's get along. Right? Basically saying, and he, in his announcement after the fact, he basically said, no, you're not going to do anything. You're going to be a hoe. And you're going to know your place as a hoe. And it'll be good for you. That's basically how he addressed Iran after the fact. Fast facts portion of this. Iran lashed out at Israel after the U.S. struck 3 Iranian nuclear sites Saturday at President Donald Trump's order. 5 to 6 bunker buster bombs struck Fordow nuclear site, Trump told Fox News' Sean Hannity. 30 Tomahawk missiles were fired against Natanz and Isfahan from U.S. submarines, Fox News' Jennifer Griffin reports. Perhaps the ultimate insult here is that he only used the bunker busters for one of these sites. Decided the other one, let's just throw some Tomahawks in there. Trump said Iranian nuclear enrichment facilities were totally obliterated during a brief address to the American people from the White House Saturday. At least a dozen people were injured after Iran launched roughly 30 missiles into Israel on Saturday night. This is perhaps the most telling portion of this. The United States comes into this conflict, drops some very, very heavy bombs, walks away, and then Iran attacks Israel. So I have some notes on this. And maybe the loudest part of this whole conflict so far is just how quiet it is. So far, even Russia and China aren't talking. No one wanted Iran to have nuclear capabilities. Because if you're Russia, if you're China, you understand. I mean, say what you want about those countries, say what you want about their leadership. They're far from stupid. And they understand that it is only an ideological difference with the United States that puts Iran on their side. So at any moment, Iran, as irrationally as sometimes they act, irrationally as sometimes they talk, at any moment, they could just decide that Russia too can get it, that China too is an enemy. And when you take a step back and you start thinking about BRICS, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, no one has spoken up. No one has said, hey, you do this again, United States, and we're going to war. Part of that, I think, is actually the fact that Iran, which was Iran was formerly looked at, I think, as the loosest cannon in the world. Well, they've had the absolute snot slapped out of them by Israel. Basically the size of New Jersey. Okay, well, but Israel has very sophisticated weaponry, very sophisticated spy action, things like that. Still, doesn't matter. They don't have anything that the United States does. Okay, so the loosest cannon in the world is taken out. The most serious threat in the world, when you're talking about what serious means, was probably Russia. Russia has always been, under Vladimir Putin, very serious about their business. And they're having the snot slapped out of them by Ukraine. And there are arguments, people want to say, well, if Putin decided to take the gloves off, he could have this handled in a weekend. Well, it's awful strange that he hasn't. And then you get to the big dog, and that's China. And there are all sorts of rumors about China. The population is not collapsing. It's already collapsed. That the economic systems are not as steadfast as they would seem, that the fraud cases, which keep popping up in China, that are basically hollow companies that eventually get found out, that maybe that's more the norm than not. All of these sorts of things, maybe the entire BRICS portion of the world is looking around and thinking, guys, we thought we had it, but this might not be a good idea. The next thing to talk about here, I think, is that what I think this actually was Netanyahu doing most of the dirty work and then going to Donald Trump and saying, look, we think we can get this taken care of, but we can hand you a really clean military victory. You just fly a couple times overhead and drop these bombs, and you have ended the Iranian threat to the entire world. This is a legacy builder for Donald Trump. Bibi Netanyahu may have just said, look, come over, do this one thing, keep your hands clean, no boots on the ground, and Iran is basically toast. This will build your legacy. You will end the Iranian threat, and this will be something that no one else can deny. It appears to me that might be what was going on here. Then we have a little bit of hysterics. Trump started World War III with U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, ex-NFL star says. U.S. struck Iranian nuclear facilities on Saturday. Former NFL star Robert Griffin III weighed in on the U.S. military strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities on Saturday night and declared that President Donald Trump had started World War III. No, he hasn't. Not going to happen. No one is going to scratch Iran's back. No one is going to come to bat for Iran. And if they were going to, we probably would have seen them do that by now. I think one of the subtle ways in which this might be changing the world is that we haven't really had this type of direct conflict against a BRICS nation from one of the Western powers. The United States going to, and BRICS nation may obviously not the right term here, but one of these allied or Axis powers, the United States has, we never bombed Russia. We never bombed China. We never bombed South Africa. One of the subtle ways in which this might have a changing effect on the world is that the United States bombed Iran in very serious fashion and then came out and said, this is going to end on our terms. If you're willing to accept that, we don't have to drop any more bombs. Mafia tacticked them, bombed them, and then came out with mafia tactics. Russia didn't stand up. China didn't stand up. And now Russia and China are having to look at each other and say, well, if you didn't stand up for Iran, are you going to stand up for me? Right? So we could see in these sort of Eastern powers turns of isolationism. We've seen this a little bit from Russia since the Ukraine war started. China has been kind of sending tendrils out into the world. It may be that this is a chilling effect. China knows they can't stand up for Iran in the wake of this. China expects Russia to stand up for Iran in the wake of this, and Russia's not doing it. Russia certainly can't stand up for Iran in the wake of this. Russia expects China to stand up for Iran in the wake of this, and they're not doing it. So now both Russia and China are forced into this situation where they realize we might really be on our own. The next thing to talk about, Iran is not going to attack the United States directly, not the way that they're attacking Israel. If anything happens, if there is some sort of retaliatory attack, it will be from the T word, from terrorism. There is no way Iran thinks it would be a good idea to attack the United States directly and outright. They are learning that it was a bad idea to attack Israel indirectly through terrorism. So, and in the wake of the event, Iran got mad and slapped Israel again, not the United States. It seems perhaps Iran knows Iran better than we do. What do I mean by that? Iran knows if we tempt the United States and cause a war in which the United States population can find justification, it's a weekend excursion. Their people are not behind it. Our people would be behind it. It's a weekend excursion. Now, obviously, those are famous last words. Ask George W. Bush. Ask Vladimir Putin. But, guys, I don't think they're wrong. If the United States already has, and Israel already has, air superiority, air supremacy, air totality over Iran already, they have no chance. So probably there will be some back channel, backwoods, back alley discussions with some of these Houthi type groups. I have a hard time believing it's going to matter. And the final thing that I want to say on this is I'm an anti-war guy. A lot of people that are anti-war, self-proclaimed anti-war people, have looked at this situation and come to the same conclusion, I think, that I have. As long as these are surgical strikes, and the Iranian people are not being killed, everyone wins here. Everyone that matters. Obviously, Iranian leadership is not winning. Iranian leadership is being picked off one by one. They're not winning very much these days. But everyone who matters, the innocent people in Iran, the peace-loving countries around the world, everyone that matters wins. The Houthi-type groups, they're losing. Iranian leadership, they're losing. Everyone who matters wins, so long as these strikes remain surgical, or as surgical as possible. Well, okay, I lied. So, Russia and China, again, I hate to have to keep bringing it back to this, but look, neither Russia nor China spoke up for Iran. It can be taken one of two ways, or it can be taken both of these ways. One, nobody wants Iran to have nuclear weapons. Everyone knows that Iran is a bit of a loose cannon. That's probably why Russia and China kept Iran around, because they could always threaten everyone else with Iran. But the second one is, the second way to take this is that there's a paper tiger, and it's not the West. The second way to take this is that Russia and China are not stepping up because they know they don't have the cards, right? So it could be some combination of those two. It could be both of those things are true. Anyway, guys, that's what I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button to stick around for more. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.